until 7:05. Maybe 7:05 my time.
Yeah.
8:05 your time.
8:05 my time. Yeah.
5:05 on the West Coast. Or would it be like midnight 05 in the UK? I don't know. I'm not very good at conversions.
One day we'll look it up.
Yeah. I mean, I could Google it, but that's a lot of work.
That goes against our whole thing of, flying by the seat of our pants.
Of being lazy. Yeah. I like being lazy. I am lightning. Ballz, how are you, sir?
I'm good. I was trying to sell it better than just laziness. I was trying to sell it as like a thing.
I appreciate the gusto. I appreciate that thought.
Being not as prepared as we should be is part of our brand.
But that's how we prepare, by not being prepared.
Yeah. Yes.
It's funny that you joke about that, but it's true though.
Hmm?
For anybody that might be brand new to what we do, the Low Blow's been around for, since the dawn of the internet, pretty much. Feels like it.
Feels like it. We did
been
this
around
on
a long time.
Dial-up originally.
And we talk just enough to generally know what's going on. But that's about it, though.
Yeah. No. Everything else is improv and, hey, Nathan.
Yeah. But no, and that's something that I will take some responsibility for because I used to, like, when doing celebrity interviews for the radio station or even this site sporadically in the early days, I would write out all of my questions. And then I would ask the question. And then I wouldn't really pay attention to the answer because I'm like, I got to get my next question in.
Yeah.
And then one day I had to fill in for a coworker who had an interview lined up. He called in sick that day or whatever. Oh, Mo, I need you to cover this. Okay. All right, cool. When is it? Oh, it's about 5 minutes from now. Well, shit. Okay. All right. I guess I got to do this. Yeah. It was like a comedian from Last Comic Standing. And I only knew him by name. That's like, I didn't know any of their humor or anything. Ended up being one of my favorite interviews I've ever done because I was forced to listen to the answers and then think of more questions. And it became a conversation. I'm like, that's how you do an interview.
That's how that works. Yeah.
Great. Byron is making cow sounds.
I was going to say, I was like, I'm pretty sure that's Mo, but I read it as Moo. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's one thing is if you try to yell out my name or like type it out emphatically somehow, it makes me seem like I'm a cow.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, and then some guys, I'm watching Big Brother on my TV right now. Okay. Yeah. Back to that again.
Great.
Yeah. See that. And then Tony's like, love you guys.
Oh. Hey, thanks, Tony. I can say that I've never watched Big Brother ever.
Never ever? Not even like Celebrity Big Brother?
Dude, I don't even know what the show's about. I know that
the nudie clips on the internet from the UK version, nothing?
No. I'm gonna look it up after the show now, but no, I did not know that was a thing.
We just talked about being too lazy to look up other things, but when it comes to nudity and Big Brother,
free nudity on the internet.
Look at this. Yeah, Casimir, what's going on, buddy? How you doing? Thank you guys for streaming us, tuning in live. I also have to give a shout out to Silas, who watches us on YouTube. Claims to be a big fan of us.
Oh, that's awesome.
And really wanted a shout out. So Silas, there you go, buddy.
Hello, Silas.
What's up, dog? Yeah, all right. So we like to have fun. We like to be goofy here on the Low Blow, but unfortunately, I do think that we have to start on a little bit of a down note and talk about a big passing in the wrestling world. As of Wednesday night, but the news finally broke. The confirmation hit Thursday morning with Shannon, otherwise known as Daffney, seemingly taking her own life Wednesday night.
I don't even know where it was to watch it all unfold, because she started doing like an Instagram live where she started talking about taking her own life, and you could kind of make out what looked to be a handgun on camera, and you're like, oh, okay. And then you see Twitter blow up, and then people like McFoley are going, hey, someone get to her.
Mm-hmm.
And people are calling the cops to her house. And then in a tragic set of circumstances, there's multiple addresses and cops are going to the wrong place, and she had just moved recently, and there was no forwarding. It was such a storm of circumstances. It's just sad.
It really is. It really is. And we're going to get to the video and how the internet treated it momentarily. That's a whole nother discussion right there that actually I do want to get involved in, because I'm not going to have the take that most people have, actually. But watching it, obviously, is very depressing. Out of the darkness, it is I'm wearing the shirt today. It's suicide prevention. It's mental health, depression, anxiety, bipolar disorder, so many different means of mental health and mental illness.
Yes.
Watching that video, you could tell she was not herself.
Yeah.
And I've been pretty open about my own struggles over the years and whatnot. Ballz is no stranger. Ballz is a guy I like to credit for helping save my life back a couple years ago, when I wasn't thinking like myself. Like, nowadays, I look back on that day that I gave up.
Yeah.
And it's like I was a ghost watching myself from the outside. Like, I would never say that. Why did I act like now it's easy for me to look back and see this, but when you're in that moment, you don't realize how deep you've gotten, how far you've gotten. So watching that video to see that she'd already reached that point.
Yeah.
And that's why it was so urgent for people to find where she was, to get a hold of her, to knock on that door, whatever it took.
Yeah.
Because at that point, she wasn't going to save herself.
No.
And the whole thing's scary, talking about how her brain still needs to go to Boston. Don't forget, my brain goes to Boston, which we assume is a donated to science situation.
I was trying to remember where, oh man, what is dude's name?
Chris Harvard?
Yeah.
Chris Nowinski?
Nowinski, yes.
Yeah. You see if that was being, donated to look at concussions and how sports affect the brain. So she knew what she was doing at that point, even though she didn't know what she was doing, if that makes any sense. But she knew what the end goal was. And I do at least appreciate and love to see the outpour of support that people are showing, because she has not been a name in pro wrestling, or at least a day-to-day name, for many years. Like, if you go back to early TNA, you go back to WCW, obviously, maybe even early Ring of Honor, you might know her from that, but WWE never really brought her in and embraced her.
No. I mean, and you showed the graphic earlier. She was one of the very first pro wrestlers that gave a crap about wrestling audio.
Yeah.
Like, she was one of the first ones to endorse us, to just rock our shirt. Like,
and she was an absolute sweetheart. Like, anybody that knew her knows that she was just a very kind-hearted individual, and obviously struggled with some sort of mental illness over the last couple of, from what I understand, years, but the last couple of weeks, apparently it seemed to really ramp up, according to people close to her. Still unfortunate, and very close ties to us, when it comes to getting us off the ground, giving us some credibility, giving us, support that, hey, maybe doing this website isn't a horrible idea.
Exactly.
Yeah, she was willing to work with us, and so she will be missed. The Scream Queen, Daffney, who you could argue was ahead of her time.
I would agree with that. Definitely.
Yeah, it's nowadays you see a character like that, maybe a goth chick or something, but she was that long before it was a thing,
before it was the cool thing to be.
Yeah. And she was the only person that could make me tolerate David Flair. That little trio, her, David Flair, and Crowbar in WCW was actually quite entertaining. When David Flair was acting like Psycho, which you can never take him seriously because of the rosy cheeks and everything. But that's just...
I'm definitely not familiar with WCW. That's well documented on this site.
Yeah.
But that sounds
fun.
Entertaining as hell. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah. Incredible wrestler, even more incredible person. I loved her outfit, especially in TNA. You know, when she was working Impact, she definitely had a lot of fun with the characters creation, working with Abyss a little bit. The Sinister Minister, you know, Father Mitchell, and yeah. This is a long something here, but Dylan says suicide's never the answer. But when you have that mental illness, though, you don't realize how far you've gotten, I think.
Yeah.
And that's everybody's different, of course, but
absolutely.
At that point, everybody, I think, was smart to jump to answer your phone, Daffney, or somebody find out where she's at. And
no, I do think like the amount of notifications blowing up her phone is what kept the video and everything going as long as it did.
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely a part of it for sure.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people talked about trying to call her and, you know, leaving a voicemail, but then the voicemail was full. I mean, there was a lot of people seemingly trying to reach out. And who was it? Somebody posted screenshots. There was another female wrestler that posted screenshots of their last conversation just like 4 days ago, a text conversation where Daffney's like, "Oh, you're great. You got a huge stardom ahead of you." Just like very encouraging and uplifting, and which some people are like, "Oh, that doesn't make sense. How can she be so depressed and do that?" But to me, it makes perfect sense because she's so low. She doesn't want anybody to get near that level. I understand it. So you build others up. Yeah. So, Adam, what's going on?
Adam.
Joining us during a heavy part of the conversation.
Yeah, right. It's like, this is when you log on.
And Elizabeth just saying hi to me, not to you.
Yeah, I know. We were doing so well on that too.
Yeah, it happens. So let's transition the topic into the Instagram live video, which if you go to her Instagram, it hasn't been pulled, at least to my knowledge. This morning it hadn't been anyway. You can't see it.
Okay.
But some people did record it and have put it on their Twitter. And there's a pretty loud uproar against this, putting this video, basically the suicide note online for hits or for clicks is what people think. But the people that are showing it, they have it posted and they're not pulling it, or saying, hey, people need to see this. Yeah. What is your initial reaction to a wrestling audio type website showing this on their Twitter?
And that was gonna be my first question, is I guess it depends who's doing it. If it is legit, like you think it's someone doing it for hits and clicks, then obviously my initial is that's the wrong reason. You shouldn't be posting it. However, I kind of think I agree with probably what you're going to go with, is I think it is important that people see it, even if it helps you understand that there are people going through the same things you are. Right. And it may not have ended how any of us wanted, or, but it does do good to know that other people are going through the same things you are. Yeah. So I depending on who's showing it, I guess, and it's kind of a BS answer, or because there's there's no one really to know. Like if we posted it, if we were showing it, you could argue that we were doing it for hits and clicks, but if they knew more about you,
right,
then we would be able to go, no, that's not the thing. He's always been open with this. We're trying to promote mental health. We could argue, but there's no real way to do that without getting involved with like researching who's posting it.
So many things that we should view it respectfully as a learning lesson and teachable moment. Dylan continues on with his saying how many people loved her during that live and anyone else during a dark place. And that's one thing that the video more focused on her and less on the actual, like the full response and all the comments coming in, the people that realize there is an issue here.
Yeah.
But the amount of people reporting these accounts, especially on Twitter, that are showing this video, the Daffney suicide note, as I'm calling it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people trying to report these accounts, saying that they're doing it just for clicks and hits, and you shouldn't show that. I do agree that there should be a trigger warning.
Yes. Yeah.
That if you are going to post it, you might not want to be scrolling, and then all of a sudden it just pops up and just starts auto playing.
Yeah, it shouldn't be autoplay. Yeah, it should be
you have to click on it.
Yeah.
So I agree with that part, but I don't think any site that or any account that's posting it is necessarily at fault. And there are some that I'm sure are just trying to get the clicks out of it. Yes,
Yeah.
that's anything in life. Look at the news. Watch the 10 o'clock news tonight and look at all the footage they show. They could not show the blood stains and the chalk outlines and stuff, but they choose to.
Mm-hmm.
And if they have further footage, they'll show that too.
Yeah.
So is it right or wrong? Obviously, we'd prefer not to have to see that violence and that suffering and everything in day-to-day life, but we do already.
Yeah.
So if this Twitter site's going to do it for hits, so be it. I don't agree with that, but so be it. No. With that said, I think it's a great video to show people it's uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. It's depressing to no end. It's sad. It's crushing.
Yeah.
But it shows what many individuals with a mental illness go through.
Yes.
That she goes, I'm so alone, guys. You have no idea how alone I am. And that's an actual thought that goes through many mental illness individuals' minds.
Yep.
And, you know, I have my lows that still to the day, there's times that I'll have a stretch of a bout where I'm low and I'll be like, well, if I off myself, nobody's going to care. Right now, I know that's not true.
Yeah.
There would be people that care. Go ahead and make a joke about not that many, but no.
I was going to not do it. I restrained myself during it.
I know. I'm very impressed with that. But when you're in those bouts, you're in those caverns, you're in those deep holes, you don't understand that, you know, reason doesn't make sense at that time. No. You really think that's the only answer is if I'm gone, the world will be a better place.
Yes.
And exactly. But she was too far gone. And there's going to be some people that watch that video and don't understand it. And they think, why was she thinking like that? Why would she do that?
Which is understandable as well.
And like Tony said, it could be a teachable moment where this is the reality for a lot of people in their minds.
Yes.
You know, I think a lot of people probably from the situation like, oh, Daffney, I remember that name. I forgot about Daffney. Like, they probably would have embraced her more if they, you know, if something had been brought up, like, oh yeah, Daffney. And like, that would have helped show the love.
Net for sure.
And maybe that could have helped her, maybe not. It's really hard to say. I think really at this point she'd already made up her mind when she did that video.
Yeah. When the video started, she was already decided. She knew where this was going. Yeah.
Because she wasn't asking for help.
No.
And this could go down a whole nother road and a whole nother discussion here. But in my findings, and I by no means am I an expert in this, but those who ask for help while being suicidal don't want to die.
Yeah.
Those who are suicidal that want to die don't ask for help.
Yeah.
They may say their goodbyes. They may feel bad about it, but they've already made up their mind. And there's always the exceptions, but that video shows somebody that needed to be physically saved. And not just like because she killed herself, but because like she would have to be restrained.
Yes.
Somebody there taking the gun out of her hands or however this may have gone down. Somebody to pull him out of that house. I'm taking you to the hospital.
Yeah.
We're getting you help. Like that's a teachable moment there.
Yes.
So I do hope that people that watch this video can understand what needs to be done in a situation like that and not just watching the video because their favorite Twitter account posted it.
Yeah.
You know, so stuff very sad indeed. Elizabeth agrees that something like this probably should be seen. Some people will take kindly to it. Some people won't, but I think that's part of the learning curve.
Yep. No, I agree.
Anything else from anybody about Daffney before we move on and start cracking our usual bad jokes?
Yeah, no, I was immediately going, how do we transition from that?
Well, I do wonder if people would take back the hashtag they put on Twitter the other day. Because, you know, RIP Daffney, hashtag Daffney is now trending and has been for 24 hours at this point.
Yeah.
But on Tuesday, Monday or Tuesday, there was the hashtag RIP NXT. Makes you wonder if some people may have pulled that back, doing that. So we will talk the future of NXT, which, as everybody probably knows, if you're a wrestling fan, changes are coming.
Changes.
But are they going to be as bad as we think? Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe not. So start with the big rumor, hence the hashtag RIP NXT, that Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard are going to be producing the show.
That's what I've read. From multiple different places, I've read that, it's going to be a Vince McMahon, Bruce Pritchard production. Day-to-day operation will still be Triple H and his team. But, the overseeing of going where... and they're always hiring. Always.
Yeah. But WWE let somebody go.
Yeah. Hey.
We'll get to that. We will get to that. So did you read today's update about the NXT production?
I don't know. I read a couple articles. I don't know if one was updated.
Triple H, Shawn Michaels, William Regal, Matt Bloom.
Yeah.
Will still maintain day-to-day operations.
Yes.
That the production style of NXT will better align with what they're doing on Raw and SmackDown.
Yes.
That makes sense. We've already seen the new logo. It's all colorful. I apparently am the only person in the world that doesn't hate it.
I just can't.
NXT has changed their logo actually a good amount of times. If you think about it. So,
no, it has. No, this one.
And if you are going to make some changes, keeping it black and yellow specific, might not be the best idea, especially when you also have AEW
specific to No Way Jose.
Right. Yeah, Joe talking about Senile Man Productions. They started immediately letting NXT take and go, or the talent go, I assume.
Yeah.
Vince rips everything 10 minutes before showtime on USA.
Yes. Allegedly it's going back to being taped in advance, right? Like I remember hearing parts of that too.
But today's report that I read that they really they want to recapture the glory days of like that 2015 to 2018 stretch.
Is that when they mean? Because I hear Vince McMahon, Bruce Pritchard, and then I hear glory days of NXT, and I'm picturing obstacle courses and keg races. So
that was before 2015, though, I believe.
It was, but the articles that I read didn't give dates.
Okay.
And it was just the glory days of NXT with Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard. And I'm picturing freaking Titus O'Neil with a keg running around.
Yeah. So, not getting into full reports, but Meltzer reporting that veterans set to job to new guys and get released so they have all new crew to start fresh with, which is something you pointed out before we took the airwaves.
Yep, which is something I brought up that I wanted to kind of talk about before we when we were loosely planning what may be discussed on this show.
We will be jumping to AEW, big pay-per-view this weekend. Yeah. So before we move out of WWE.
Yes. So, what do you think about that? And obviously, the reports I read said got let go, not got moved to main roster. It was like job them out on the way out and get rid of them. I think we can pretty much assume, as has gone around, Adam Cole's gone. Obviously,
seems like it.
We don't know for sure. There's really no way to know because no one wished him well on his future endeavors.
Until he shows up,
Yeah. Until he shows up somewhere else, anywhere, WWE or AEW or anywhere in between, we don't really know. We're assuming he's gone. Where does this leave? Number one, I didn't even write this one down, but your current 3-time champion that just came back. Yeah. Those were names that I had on my list. I saw that they just hired a younger brother from Uso, who I think they'll season a little bit and then immediately put with the bloodline. But that's just me.
That the bloodline or anybody in that family does have a natural talent, so he might already have a leg up on the competition. Maybe not.
He's already been trained by Rikishi, so it's not like he's green.
Right, exactly.
But yeah,
and working with family might make it easier. even.
Absolutely. And it's safer. You put him in tag team matches and stuff just to kind of get him out in front of the crowd. But like, where do you think this leaves guys like, as he mentioned on the screen, Ciampa, Gargano, Pete Dunne? When you start thinking of guys that have been there a while, Oney Lorcan, Danny Burch, Dakota Kai.
I would love to look at the ages of some of these stars as well, because supposedly, for anybody that's not aware, the NXT rumor is no indie stars now.
Yeah.
Homegrown talent, 30 and under. Nobody being brought in. If you're 32 and on the indies, AEW's hiring.
Yeah. No one's starting in their 30s. So like, yeah. So basically, yeah.
I would worry even if you're 29. I'd be like, time to lie about your age, buddy. Time to boogeyman that shit. You know, lie about your age by a couple decades. Say you're 12. You know, you're really advanced 12.
I'm really advanced. I've been taking a lot of natural supplements.
This is all the CBD stuff I've been taking.
Yeah, and the only one I think that I didn't say yet was Roderick Strong, who definitely disserviced himself by shaving his head closer than it was, because now he looks old. Older than he did before.
So
like,
it would be odd to let all of them go.
For sure. Especially some of those guys are in like the main storyline right now.
Yeah. So some will be perfectly fine. I think it depends on what they expect their role to be. Like a Gargano or Ciampa probably won't jump to a main event scene on the main roster. But if they are willing to work their way back up again, then Gargano could be a lovable underdog sort of character. Rey Mysterio is gonna have to move on at some point again. And Dom, I don't know if he's quite ready for that role yet.
Yeah.
We don't have a Brian Danielson anymore. Like Chad Gable, we've turned heel. Like we don't have that lovable loser. I hate to say it because we both love Gargano, but he could maybe fit that role. Or maybe DIY comes back and we got a solid tag team.
I don't know.
But they might not want to do that.
Exactly.
Especially when they've been pretty loud about not really wanting to leave NXT. Some do okay. Some do all right. I think Pete Dunne could be fine.
Pete Dunne, do you mean fine main roster? Or
yes,
fine
I think he would be fine main roster. I think he'd be fine anywhere.
Yeah.
We also have to keep in mind not everybody can jump to AEW at this point. So
no.
This is a good point right here. Gargano's a Browns fan. He's used to being an underdog. And Impact will probably love to hire some people. You know, Dylan also pointing out Buddy Murphy and Braun Strowman supposedly Impact bound.
That's the rumor, and I think that's great.
Yeah. And then, of course, you got overseas. Mexico is looking at some talent again. I mean, it's a good time to be a wrestling fan, especially for competition around and about. WWE is obviously making drastic changes right now. We've already speculated and taken a lot of time talking about an eventual sale, not this year, but maybe next, or whatever they're trying to do. But
and I don't know.
I think it would be stupid for them to drop all of the NXT main event talent. And what does that mean about the women too?
That's where I said Dakota Kai.
Yeah,
most of the women have been moved up, so a lot of the women currently are a lot of fresh-faced, new to NXT. There's a lot of younger.
We've seen that cycle before, where especially in the women's division in NXT, that you pull a bunch up and then you build the new stars. I mean, and I don't know again ages of people like Frankie Monet.
Yeah,
could she get called up to the main roster with her relation with John Morrison, or does she stay down there? Like again, I don't know how strict they're going to be with this supposed age cutoff. But Io Shirai, what is she doing right now? Like she should be on that main roster.
She definitely should be, especially
probably on a different show than Asuka, just because WWE probably thinks down on people that we can't tell them apart.
Oh, I did read today that WWE Japan is no more. It's been dissolved.
Yeah, and then you got people like Walter, who would probably do quite well on the main roster, doesn't want to leave England.
No, he doesn't want to leave England. So yeah.
Now it's sad, but at the same time, NXT's always gone through changes. Maybe not as drastic as this, but they've always gone through like these life cycles.
No, it has
come back around, and I think it just is going to take us a couple months, but we'll come around to NXT again.
Yeah, no, I mean,
does it suck if you're an independent wrestler and now you realize, okay, WWE is probably not going to look at me now?
Yeah, no,
it's got to suck.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also probably not forever.
And
right now they're cutting budget, so bringing in a no-namer fresh out of a school or bringing in an independent talent who's been doing it for 10, 15 years, who's going to cost more?
Yeah. No, and I think I want to say it was Samoa Joe who said it recently, where he's like, those like edicts have always been in place.
Right.
It depending on how strongly they were enforced, it really just depended. But those, young under 30, that's always been the thing. They were just more open to, the indie wrestler stars, a couple years back when they started hoarding talent from everyone. Yeah. So I don't know.
So I don't know if we're going to see, visually we'll see the changes, but I don't know if storylines are going to be affected that much. I think it'll probably still be the best WWE brand when it comes to matches, the in-ring quality, because it's like the college sports of WWE.
Yeah.
These people are working their asses off to try to get that paycheck, either on the main roster or not.
Yeah.
They want that spotlight.
Can you imagine if the storylines all like stopped and just started over? You're like,
I would almost be impressed.
Right.
I'm not gonna lie. I'd be like, okay.
Tune in.
What are we doing?
Week. Tune in next week for all new stories. Like people have new names. You're like trying to be like, who's that guy? Used to be LA Knight, what? Or La Knight.
Right. It's the wedding. Dexter Lumis and Indy Hartwell no longer talk to each other. No explanation given.
Dexter Lumis talks.
Right.
He's no longer an artist who stares.
Exactly. I like that a lot. Question from Joe: does AEW slow down on acquisitions? You got to at some point.
Yeah. Yes.
Which actually does lead me into my next something.
Ooh.
AEW CW. AEW diehards probably hate this, but I like AEW's product. I like their talent. I like how much fun their talent's having. By God, I'm worried about them becoming WCW. There's so much WCW comparisons. It's impressive almost. It really is. You didn't watch WCW back in the day. You watched the young, homegrown WWE show. And that's what they're trying to build again. They're trying to go young, build their own talent.
Yeah.
And if you're established, go to those guys. And AEW is like, yes, bring us more.
Bring us more of those people.
And you want another example of why AEW Dark, the tapings are moving to Universal Studios.
Which, to me, immediately made me think of Impact Wrestling. But, yes.
WCW Worldwide, back in the day, used to come from Universal Studios.
Let's just be honest.
If you're a competition to WWE, you go and run Universal Studios.
That's what I was going to say. I was like, let's just be honest. Universal Studios has a cheap warehouse studio that they're able to run stuff from.
And that's fine. But just saying that for Tony Khan, who wants to break away from that and keep saying WCW had a good business plan, but we're better, there are still too many similarities for me to get too relaxed.
It's true.
Yeah. And hiring all of the leftover talent, so to speak, a WCW move and an Impact move as well.
There was I don't remember who said it, but I think I saw it on Twitter, where it basically compared oh man, all these guys leaving WWE and going to AEW. It's like saying an artist from Marvel can't leave and go to DC.
Right. Right.
Because, I mean, where else are they going to go? Like,
Right. I mean, we talk about Impact and Ring
yes,
of Honor and
of
whatnot,
course.
but who's going to pay them?
Yeah, who's going to pay them?
I do think Impact's going to start stealing more of these talents as time goes on because
Yeah.
people are going to realize there's only so much TV time AEW can provide.
Yes.
And they've picked a good crew of people, so you have the legends and Sting and Mark Henry and some of those guys, Jake the Snake, but then you got younger talent, the Malachi Black and whatnot. Obviously bringing CM Punk out of retirement, it's great. But like a Braun Strowman or a Buddy Murphy, as was mentioned earlier, how much time are they really going to get in AEW?
Like, I think Braun Strowman, if done correctly, and this is why I think he could be good on Impact, where they don't have someone like Braun Strowman. Whereas I would argue that, we have Lance Archer, there's other large
Brian
big
Cage.
Men, Brian Cage, other large angry big men on AEW. And while Impact may have some, like Falaba, or we're talking the body type of Braun Strowman, it's pretty much it.
Yeah.
And you could do a monster thing on there because he's not really doing it. They don't have one. So I think
and I love Buddy Murphy. The guy is super talented, but it's already hard for a lot of these stars to stand out on Wednesday nights.
Yep. Yes.
And those who can will lead the company moving forward. But Buddy Murphy, I don't know if he's that guy right now, but if he can take over Impact, almost like a Rich Swann, Moose sort of situation, these guys that really show that maybe they weren't used in WWE properly, but all of a sudden become a world champion in Impact.
No,
then
absolutely.
they get taken a bit more seriously in AEW.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that's definitely it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have that large, hairy, ugly dude that makes mean faces behind QT Marshall.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Nick Camarado.
Yeah.
Yeah. Looks like a throwback 80s caveman with like.
Which I actually kind of like that.
Yeah, no, he totally like.
I don't like QT Marshall, but I like the guy behind him. So.
Just that guy. Some of the other guys, not so much. Except for now he has the Gun Club with him. Because we got that 2021 heel turn.
Billy Gunn versus the Big Show.
Oh, I'm not gonna lie to you. I saw that heel turn coming a mile away. They've got to do something better than lining up strategically a foot behind the guy that they're defending.
I agree. Yeah.
Even Paul White was like, he tapped like Billy in the chair in the stomach. Like, because Billy was like holding it like this. And I was like, why does it look like he's pushing him further behind him? This is, oh, Billy, no. Why?
Another heel group, by the way. That's exactly what we need.
I assume now they just joined QT Marshall's heel group. They just expanded the factory out. Now it's
as I joked to you as we were talking and texting during AEW, texting back and forth, CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, Sting, Orange Cassidy, against the whole rest of the roster.
That's all it is.
This is like WCW when you had Diamond Dallas Page, Goldberg, and Sting against the rest of the roster in the NWO.
Yeah. Yep. That's exactly what it is.
Creative control is great until everybody wants to be a heel.
That's a shirt.
Uh-oh. Crying Danielson. Oh. Joe says we're not wrong. Appreciate that, because I'm sure many people will yell at us later about being wrong.
And I think we've talked about it before about when do they stop absorbing. You never really stop hiring. If someone is good and you think can make you money, you bring them in.
Yeah.
And we'll discuss it coming up during predictions. I don't know how many dudes there are left out that I would hire. But there's definitely some women that are free agents that I would bring in.
I'll agree with that. You can always be hiring, but at some point you're going to have to let go as well.
Well, I think at some point they stop using we'll call them contract staff. that they bring out just for like dark and elevation and stuff.
Yeah.
And start sticking more to just the AEW talent instead of the additionals they bring in.
Maybe. It depends on how much that contract's have. I should reach out to GPA, friend of Wrestling Audio, who was a part of AEW Dark a couple weeks ago in Chicago. Just aired this week.
Yeah.
And kind of see what the deal was. Because I could see somebody like Peter Avalon and some of those guys getting let go because you helped us launch. You're an original. But we got to make room for, Braun Strowman or I don't know, Johnny Gargano, whoever's going to be next. One person we won't be seeing in the women's division in AEW is AJ.
No. Brought up on a recent, now that CM Punk is doing the interview circuit, he pretty much immediately shut this down. The interviewer brought it up, hey, now that you're back, what are the odds that your wife returns? And he's just immediately like, nope. Her neck is injured. She cannot wrestle. The thought, don't even let it enter your mind, her mind. You can't entertain it. Like, it's not a thing that can happen.
So what he's saying is she's retired from wrestling.
I believe so.
I don't believe that.
Well, no, you have strong feelings about that.
Nobody ever retires from wrestling.
And I'd like to point out other people that came back from neck injuries recently. Edge.
Christian had a career-ending injury he came back from. Daniel Bryan. Paige is now implying that she's not done. After saying, I would like to return, they give me hope. Now she's saying, oh, I'm not done yet.
Yeah, I'm not done.
So if she wants to, maybe she could come back in time.
Yeah.
Or as you and I joked very briefly before the show, she's winning the women's AEW Women's Championship this Sunday.
Yeah. She's winning the Casino Battle Royal and then beating Britt Baker, DMD.
Yep. You're retired until you're not. Thank you. AJ Lee is trash anyway. That's only because the character they gave her in the WWE, though. I don't know. She's a real sweetheart to me, and I enjoyed her. Crazy is my superpower, so
I liked her character in WWE.
Yeah,
she was a nerdy psycho. Not gonna lie to you, possibly have a thing for nerdy psychos. Like
what? Although she's not blonde though, Ballz.
That's true. It's true.
No, you probably liked it when she came out like dressed as Caitlyn, or like Caitlyn came out dressed as her. Yeah, that was probably like your thing right there.
That's true. You got me.
That was your thing right there.
Yep.
Related, unrelated, her Tessa Blanchard going to WWE. She's too good to not be in the majors.
Yes.
And if there's going to be anybody that can kind of set her on the right path, it's going to be WWE.
Although the Impact her dad fiasco. Is in AEW. Like, I feel like maybe touring with her dad.
No, my homegirl. Not your homegirl.
Say she doesn't even return your texts anymore. It's fine.
I think she has a new number. So whoever now has that number doesn't return my texts. Yeah. And I haven't tried in a long time. Just too childish for Jason.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, different strokes for different folks. That's why I like there's such a variety of pro wrestling out there. If you don't like AEW, you have WWE. You don't like either of them, New Japan or the UK, or check out Freak Show Wrestling in Las Vegas.
It's true.
Saw a guy dressed up as Count Chocula win a match. It was great. Cereal box for a head. It was outstanding.
It was the guy who was when we were back in the early days of Wrestling Audio and we were calling matches for Hybrid Pro.
Yeah,
Johnny Cockstrong was like a terrible.
And that's actually where we also got introduced to Johnny Gargano.
That's true. Yes.
M-Dog 20, Matt Cross, who has done quite well for himself over the years. So, when we try, and I still claim that our play-by-play of pro wrestling on the radio, audio only, it worked. It just wasn't the right market.
We were also ahead of our time.
I mean, it was good. We did a good job, in my opinion, with the play-by-play. I really think that we nailed it, like created the picture, like the announcers do.
If baseball can paint a picture for the radio, I feel like we could have done that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just mentally painting a picture of what's happening on independent wrestling.
Right. But we're doing a small town promotion around small towns, just like
Yeah.
If we would have tried this like closer to Chicago, I think we could have had something.
I think we could have.
But we didn't. So
no.
So instead, we move on to AEW. That is coming up Sunday night.
That is true.
You know it's a big one when both Ballz and I will both be watching it.
That's true.
Yes, both of us. Yes,
not together, but watching.
No, but I'm sure we'll be texting, giving thoughts back and forth.
Absolutely.
And this is where I toss it over to you because I was too lazy to do the card, so I made you do it.
All right. So I think we need to discuss the match not happening. Match moved to Rampage.
But why are we talking about it?
Because it's weird and it's unfortunate. And let's be honest, I believe it happens way too often for Pac. Like Pac and Andrade, there's something wrong with Pac's ability to travel, even though he was legit at AEW like a week ago. Mm-hmm. He was at Dynamite, so I don't know where he went. I'm sorry, man. Try to stay in the country near a pay-per-view. It's just my opinion. It's not like Tony Khan can't put you in a hotel. It'll be fine.
Or doesn't pay you enough that you could afford your own.
Also true.
Yeah. Maybe he's got family or something overseas.
Yeah. So Andrade Pac moved to a Rampage upcoming. So not even a Dynamite. I do like that they're trying to put important stuff on Rampage. That I think is cool.
For now.
Yeah. They're trying for right now. So I appreciate it. So just putting it out there, that's not happening. The buy-in pre-show, home of Matt Hardy and the Hardy family office.
Andrade still has that open challenge though on Sunday, right?
Yes, I believe so.
Right. And that's on the main card.
It's not mentioned anywhere like when you're looking at matches. Because I looked at two different websites and neither one had the Andrade open challenge on it.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe we talk about that anyway.
Yeah.
Because I see AEW directly acknowledging that during the show.
Oh, I'm sure.
Pac had visa issues or whatever, and Andrade came to fight. Who's going to step up and accept the open challenge? Now, is that where we get a return, Bryan Danielson or a debut?
Oh, man.
Or is it somebody already on the roster just so you don't have Andrade lose?
Yes. I feel like it's going to be like someone from the Nightmare Factory. Like, it's not going to be Lee Johnson because that guy's currently fighting Malachi Black. But
right, yeah.
I feel like it's going to be.
Who's that? Is that young guy? Yeah, that young guy. That's really good. What's his name?
That young
the
guy.
20-year-old with like the half afro.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. Ha.
Crap.
You know what I'm talking about.
I do know who you're talking about. One of the
misspelled both of them.
He did.
And then it's like,
and then she misspelled it too. What is happening? It's only been 16 years. Our names are on the screen most of the show.
Yeah. His name's got a Z in it because it's got street cred.
And your name does not have an E in it because you're not a stooge. Or
the bartender from The Simpsons.
Also not that either.
Although he's cranky and I'm okay with that.
No, yeah. As we were doing this, I appreciate we're trying to buy time so I can remember what the heck that kid's name is. But I do know he's the one in Top Flight that's not injured.
Right. Is he in a match already?
No, he's not.
Because I would have him come out, wow the crowd. Andrade still wins though.
It's still beaten by Andrade. I agree with that.
Yeah.
I was literally trying to think of like a face character that was not on the show yet that could face Andrade. But yeah, so I agree with that. That would be a good, and my phone does when I'm running.
Don't run into a tree.
No.
Or like run off a bridge because you're too busy watching us. So grossly entertained that
maybe he's just listening to it and it's theater of the mind like we discussed.
Oh, maybe Tony Khan turns heel at All Out. Why not?
Because everyone else is heel. That's fine.
Why not?
Yeah.
So, all right, so what do you got in the buy-in?
The buy-in, Hardy Family Office, Matt Hardy, Private Party, the Hybrid 2, against Orange Cassidy, Chuck Taylor, Wheeler Yuta, and Jurassic Express.
Poor Orange Cassidy.
Right. That's what I was going to say. He's definitely like ebbs and flows. Like main event against Kenny Omega or the buy-in. Like, I don't know.
And at some point, doesn't Matt Hardy's group have to win something of note? Because it's been a while since Private Party has been, relevant.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate to say that because they are so talented, but
yeah, no, I agree. I do, but you look at like Orange Cassidy and Jurassic Express under Hybrid 2 are probably my favorite tag team that's not used correctly.
yeah.
I loved them in Lucha Underground. And Helico and Jack Evans,
Mm-hmm.
two of my favorite dudes in Lucha Underground. And
Mm-hmm.
I wish they were used better everywhere, really. But
only so much spotlight that could go around though.
I know.
Yeah.
And instead they're in the Hardy family office, which is the most haphazardly random put together faction ever. Because there's no chemistry between Private Party and the Hybrid 2 or the Butcher and the Blade. Like, it's just these tag teams that Hardy at one point was paying to beat people up, and now they just don't leave them alone. And we still don't know if Hardy is continuing to pay them because we don't really see that anymore. But it's just a random group of tag teams that kind of hang out together but have no chemistry with one another.
Yeah. And for that reason, I agree with Casimir. I think Orange Cassidy, the best friends group, wins the buy-in.
And I agree with that. Also, because Jurassic Express was like literally the number one contenders for the tag titles last week.
Yeah.
And now that they're like, I don't know, starting over or at the bottom, and poor Marco Stunt, he should be able to wrestle. I'm hoping he, hits someone during this because it's always Jurassic Express plus Marco Stunt.
Yeah.
He should, maybe, I don't know if for some reason I believe he was hurt at some point, but maybe I don't remember anymore. But Orange Cassidy and his group win. I think we both agree on that. Yes.
I agree with that.
We've discussed that. Yeah.
Yeah. Jason saying should have been Paul White and QT Marshall on the buy-in, which I like saying QT really quickly. QT Marshall.
QT Marshall.
QT Marshall. I on a personal level agree with you. On a professional level, you don't put the Big Show's wrestling return on a pre-show.
No, I agree. But hey, let's start there. Paul White, QT Marshall.
Of course, you had to start one where I'm like, do you build the homegrown young talent, graduate of the Devon Dudley Academy, in QT Marshall, or the Big Show, Paul White, who you're just bringing back, who was almost forced into retirement in that other company?
Yeah.
Do you have him return, debut, whatever, with a loss?
Out of the two people coming back, if you're going to have someone lose, it's probably Paul White.
I mean, he might be a guy that's okay putting over young talent.
And you make it so he gets massacred. I mean, now that QT Marshall has 73 people with him, exactly. The factory interferes somehow. The Big Show does not lose cleanly. Or the Paul White.
Yeah.
I've got to stop calling him the Big Show.
The Big White? The Paul Show?
The Paul Show.
Yeah, I will be rooting for Paul White, but I expect QT Marshall to get that win. With this being a good point here, he'll be pissed off. So maybe we get... or I can see the distraction. He's punching somebody else, one of QT's pals, the big, whatever they call it, the knockout punch.
Yeah, knockout punch.
And then QT hits, the first of 12 diamond cutters throughout the course of the show.
That's what we'll be doing when we text back and forth to each other. One diamond cutter.
It should be a drinking game. It should be a wrestling audio drinking game. If there's an RKO, diamond cutter, or stunner variation, take a drink.
Take a drink.
Yeah. Even if you don't drink alcohol, you'll be pissing like a maniac.
Yep. Just remember to tweet us at the end of the show and tell us.
Yeah, just make it Mark Henry versus Paul White versus Shaq. Don't give him ideas. That'll happen.
No, that's totally an AEW type thing.
That's a dynamite main event right there.
Let's go ahead and get this one out of the way. The 21 women casino battle royal. I'd like you to name the 20 announced women.
Bunny. Ty Conte, is she in it? Yep. Red Velvet.
Yeah.
Jade Cargill.
Yep.
Only got 17 to go, guys. Give me an hour. I got this.
All right. Nyla Rose, Thunder Rosa, Bunny, Big Swole, Julia Hart, Ty Conti, Diamante, Penelope Ford, Red Velvet, Hikaru Shida, Emi Sakura, Cargill, Kira Hogan, Abaddon, Leela Hirsch, Killian King, Rebel, Jamie Hayter, Anna Jay, Riho, and the mystery 21st person.
Did you say Thunder Rosa?
Yep, she was first.
Okay. Yeah, you said so many names. I just tuned out.
I named 20 of them. Yeah.
So who was the last one?
The last one. So who is the last one? The 21st?
Who's 21?
Who's mystery 21? This is where you play. Do you everyone thinks it's Ruby Soho.
Ruby Soho.
Do
Destination
you make
Chicago. Ruby. Yeah.
Do you make it Ruby Soho, or do you do someone else, and then have? I think odds of her debuting it All Out are, in the 90%. But do you make her 21, or do you make her come out and challenge the winner? Do you try to swerve the fact that everyone assumes she's 21?
It would be interesting. I like the idea of having somebody else be 21.
Yeah.
And then Ruby comes out afterwards, or she's in a backstage segment. Maybe she's in the crowd, doing the NXT thing, that she's front row watching what's going on.
Yeah.
I love that idea a lot. I really do. I would still call Ruby to be 21.
Yeah.
But I would love it if it was somebody from like the recent NWA Empower pay-per-view. Maybe Melina is like That's the true. Shock that nobody's thinking of, or Maria Kanellis, like the Forbidden Door is
I was going to say,
off the hinge at this point.
You swing it back the other way and bring some the champion of Impact Wrestling currently. Deonna Purrazzo.
Yeah.
She could be 21,
And doesn't necessarily win, or does win for a short feud, maybe.
Yeah.
And then goes back, because now borrowing talent is not taboo. So I love the idea of having it be somebody else. Mickie James, even.
Yeah, like there's a list of people it could be. Chelsea Green isn't signed anywhere, but she likes to appear everywhere.
Yeah.
So
the man-eater Chelsea Green is what she likes to call herself now.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Was it?
But I'm still going to officially call Ruby Soho being that one, and then Ruby wins probably. But I would like to see a Thunder Rosa get that win there. Jade, maybe, depends. It's probably got to be somebody that's a face, though, to take on Britt, unless Britt loses it later.
Yeah, so there's only a couple faces I think that are strong enough.
Yeah.
Ty Conti, Anna Jay came back, so maybe you go with her. I don't know. I would love to see Peyton Royce or Billie Kay. I mean,
but then how do you get one without the other?
No, I mean,
but the inspiration.
The inspiration, like they straight up said they're not going anywhere separate. So
yeah,
you would get them together. 21 is both of them.
It would be interesting, or like one would wrestle, but the other's at ringside.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think now's the time for that.
No, I don't either. But it's kind of what I said about, there are still women available, free agents that would do wonders, I think.
Now let me ask you this: Is it rude that we keep bringing in talent, women, men, it doesn't matter, and they're jumping the line? Like, they've addressed it with Christian Cage, had to outwork everyone, but a Ruby Soho comes in, the former Ruby Riott comes in, and kind of jumps a lot of that line where, Bunny's there every single week, working her ass off to continue being where she's at.
Yeah.
Get what I'm saying? Like, how far do you continue to take that before you grow that frustration?
I think it's a damn good question. I think with Christian Cage, they were smart. They'd both be wild. Exactly. Exactly. Leela Hirsch, I think, is someone who recently got signed and has a lot of potential.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing is, like, and I'll try to get back to your question in a sec. I think their women's roster is underrated and has so much potential.
It's getting there. It's getting there finally.
They just need to. I mean, obviously, the biggest argument is they're not on Dynamite enough. You know, they have 7 matches on Dark, but 1 on Dynamite. Like, there definitely needs to even.
And it's almost 7 minutes total between those 7 matches.
Yes, exactly. But you know, you were saying about how you jump the line. I think you just have to be very careful how you do it.
Yeah.
And I think Christian, they did it smartly. They didn't let him jump the line.
Right.
He had to work his way. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the precedent you set, is you can come in and make all the challenges you want. Like Ruby coming in and winning a battle royal that earns her a number 1 contendership, that's different. Like, she didn't jump the line. She won a gimmick match.
Mm-hmm.
So I think as long as you're careful with how you do it, it should be okay.
Awesome Kong comes out of retirement to win. 1 week after retiring, comes back out.
No,
I would laugh my ass off.
You fell for it. She comes out in the salmon jacket Mark Henry wore. Like,
I would laugh my ass off. I would do that. So, who do you think who's winning?
Who's winning? I think if you bring in Ruby, I think she has to win.
Yeah.
And
another
so I do think
of, hey, that company didn't use the talent right, but we do.
Yeah. No, I do think that's pretty much what happens. If Ruby debuts, she wins.
Yeah. When does Vicky Guerrero get her title shot?
Oh God, I hope never. Although before Nyla Rose, if you watch AEW Dynamite, there was a segment where Nyla Rose and Jade Cargill jumped Thunder Rosa, and it was the Nyla Rose had the worst looking punches and kicks to Thunder Rosa in the backstage that I've possibly ever seen in my life. And I'm going, oh, come on. That doesn't even
saying
look
something, because we've seen some bad ones.
Yeah. And I'm like, that doesn't even look like it's anywhere near her body.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Like you're a former champion. You're supposed to be better than this. Like, so yeah.
Trying to get let go so she can jump to Impact? I don't know.
He's directly behind Vicky Guerrero in title shot contention, in my mind. What I feel is kind of a random match, but should be fun. Jon Moxley versus Satoshi Kojima from New Japan.
I mean, I'll probably be like refilling my nachos at that time.
You probably will. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely one of those things where you're like, huh? Did I miss?
I love it when you get called out, not me.
They weren't Shane McMahon punches. I mean, you're not wrong. They weren't Shane McMahon punches.
Yeah, but we haven't had Nyla Rose underground yet either.
That's
true.
Nyla Rose underground.
AEW Dynamite Underground.
That's what I expect the new NXT to be like. Yeah, yes, Mock. There's no way this New Japan legend comes over. I think it'll be great. I think Moxley will make this legend look good.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And because I think Moxley obviously still has a reputation, he still works over in New Japan, so like it still builds storylines for him over there. I think it'll be good. There's no way Moxley loses this,
unless they're starting a new angle or a storyline somewhere that another star maybe that respects the legend more than they respect Moxley comes out to try to help his idol, his mentor.
Yeah.
But that to me it's a long shot. I don't see that happening. So I am also calling Moxley to win.
Yeah. Continuing in that vein, TNT champion Miro, God's favorite, against Eddie Kingston. My favorite.
which has a potential to be a standout match of the night.
Yes, it does.
Not the best match,
no,
but a standout match.
Absolutely.
Because we know Kingston is batshit crazy.
Yes.
And Miro is kind of teetering on batshit crazy.
Yes.
And he seems like he's the guy that that idea sounds great. Let's try it.
Yeah.
I don't know if we could physically do it, but we'll try it anyway.
Yeah, right. And we're not going to practice it ahead of time. We're just going to bust it out spur of the moment.
Yeah. Yeah. So I expect there'll probably be a miscommunication or two, but we'll ignore that in favor of what will be probably just dare I say, this is the batshit crazy match of the night.
I think it is.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
now does Lana show up?
She's available.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
No.
His character doesn't need her.
No. I actually think at this point right now it would lessen his character.
It would. I think it would.
And it's nothing against CJ Perry, Lana. It's just right now he's got a good character.
Yeah.
Maybe she wants to show that she can wrestle, and she goes to Ring of Honor right now where they're trying to build that women's division. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I don't know. But yeah, I'm thinking Miro. Oh, man, I'd be so pissed. That's just WWE all over again. If Lana comes out and costs Miro the championship.
Maybe starts making out with Kingston.
With Eddie Kingston.
They quickly get married.
Yes.
And then we finally get that storyline coming to a conclusion, finally.
Just picks up middle of the storyline.
I mean, Malachi Black continued where he left off. Why not Miro and Lana, right?
Mm-hmm.
Rusev and Lana.
Miro keeps the title, in my opinion.
Man, everybody hates us right now. Like,
no.
Why'd you say that out loud, guys? I hate you.
Why'd you put that into the universe? Miro or Eddie Kingston?
Miro. Yeah. Miro's got too much momentum right now.
Yeah. Women's Championship. Britt Baker, DMD, against Chris Statlander.
Alien.
Yes.
Alien. Yeah. Who steps up? Is it a Ruby? Is it a Thunder Rosa that we talked about from the Battle Royal? But I think Britt retains for now. She's having a blast with it. They're having a lot of fun with her.
Yeah.
Britsburg, CM Punk came back, and the first thing he said referenced Britt Baker.
Yep.
That's huge for Britt Baker.
Yes. And it may not be something you recognize right away, but when it's pointed out, you're like, oh, crap.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened. Yeah.
He immediately put over young talent.
Yep.
In his return, where he didn't have to acknowledge anybody.
No,
it's other than himself.
Nope.
So I think Britt retains for that reason, that she is a great face of that division, and some of the people before her got longer runs. Maybe she should have a long run too.
Yeah.
If Chris won it, I wouldn't be disappointed, but I don't think it's the time right now.
No, I think, and plus there's plenty of outside interference for Britt that Britt could still win, and the Statlander story could still continue.
All right, we still got to get that. We still got to get the them turning on each other storyline at some point, right?
Of course, yeah. I believe that's Pro Wrestling 101.
Yeah, you got to. You gotta.
All right, 4 matches left, I do believe. Let's go ahead and just do the tag title match. Young Bucks, Lucha Bros, Steel Cage.
New champions.
New champions?
I'm calling new champions. They got to do something on this show, right?
No, they do. Right. Yeah. And that's where I'm like, I want to call new champs.
I could sense it. You're like so frustrated. You're like,
no, I think the Elite lose a match at this pay-per-view, and it's this one. I don't think it's the next one. I think it's this one. I think you're going to see new champs, and it's going to be recognized that it happened without Pac.
Mm-hmm.
And oh my God, if Andrade comes out and helps them win, like that'll just further the storyline with Death Triangle. Like, there's definitely ways to go, I think, with new champions. So yeah, I think we'll see Lucha Bros.
I like this. You're I'm playing checkers. You're playing chess tonight, man. You're thinking like one step ahead of everything. You're like, Andrade helps these guys out, and like, you're blowing my mind, man.
Chris Jericho, MJF. If Jericho loses, he will never wrestle in AEW again. Which just means he's going to go to New Japan for a little while. Like,
or tour for Fozzy.
Well, there is that as well.
And do the Jericho cruise.
Yep.
MJF's winning.
Yeah, I know.
I think it's just time for Chris Jericho to take a break. He's been go for years since the beginning of AEW, and kudos to him. Like, who would have guessed that Jericho would not only jump to help AEW out, but then become such a consistent piece of that puzzle for years?
You know, he literally was the workhorse of the show up until like super recently. Like
promos every week, if not wrestling every week. I mean, always reinventing himself. But Fozzie's got the tour. He's got the new album dropping. I mean, it's wrestling. He'll return. He'll find a way, or he'll egg on somebody or an MJF maybe, or somebody else, egg him on to allow him to wrestle again. I mean,
I'm not as optimistic as you. I think Jericho wins and then still leaves, or like he wins but is beaten up so badly that's why he leaves and goes away.
Okay.
So he can always come back at any point he wants.
No, you give MJF that feather in his cap there. You let MJF brag about ending Chris Jericho's career. Yeah. You embrace the best bad guy you have in your company.
Yeah.
And you go all in on that.
No, I agree.
Not all out. All
in.
Yeah.
It was the first pay-per-view.
Yeah. This is a good point here. He did predict that Jericho loses, but then he changes the name.
Yeah.
He dresses up different. Like, there's always ways around it. But
Lucha Jericho, the lion heart mask. And
no, I give it all to MJF because he also likes being a heel.
Yeah.
Where like that the problem is Britt Baker's supposed to be a heel, but she's enjoying the popularity too much.
Yeah.
Britsburg, but like they're letting her be a face in her town. It's like MJF will heel on his own city. So
yeah. Yes. All right. 2 matches. We'll do the championship match first.
No.
World Championship, AEW World Championship, Kenny Omega versus Impact Champion Christian Cage.
I mean, Christian got 1 belt. That's good.
That's the easy answer. Like I said, Elite's losing 1 match. This one's not going to be it.
No, you got a lot of rumors of people coming in. You just brought CM Punk back out of retirement. I mean, you got the Hangman storyline hanging out there.
Yep.
I still think Orange Cassidy could, he never got that one-on-one.
Yep.
You got potential with Kenny Omega. Christian being dual champion. I love Christian. I'm happy he's out of retirement. I don't see him running both shows. I
don't see him running both shows either.
No, not main events of both shows.
No. But oh my God, Kenny Omega with like black painted hair is not okay. Like it's not.
I don't know. I don't hate it as much as everybody else does. It definitely throws you off the first time you see it, but
it's like, yikes. All right. No, but I don't think Christian's winning this.
This is interesting here. Carl Anderson blowing up Twitter right now over anti-WWE insensitive Daffney stuff. Not a good look going into Sunday.
Huh.
We will have to look into that. Thanks for the heads up there.
I saw that WWE posted something about offering things to their employees.
Like the mental health services.
Yeah. I wonder if that's what he means or if there's something else.
Yeah, if you got an exact quote or something you want to share with us, Nathan, let us know on that. But
and then the final match, Sting will not be at ringside. CM Punk coming out of retirement, Darby Allin.
CM Punk. I mean, Darby, it would be great if Darby could pull off that upset victory over CM Punk, but I think CM Punk makes him look like $1 million.
Yo, yeah.
I don't think this match is going to be as crisp as people want it to be. I think ring rust will unfortunately rear its ugly head for CM Punk, who even admits that he hasn't really even been in the ring that much recently. Yeah. He's going to go on instinct.
Yeah.
And familiarity. So hopefully he doesn't injure himself.
There is that.
But I think it will be an overall good match. Darby will probably get more offense than CM Punk. I think Darby will control most of the match, but CM Punk's veteran instincts will take over. Yeah. He'll take down Darby Allin and then put him over with the handshake at the end.
Yes. No, I agree. That's pretty much the best way you could do it.
Yeah. unless you're going to do a storyline of does CM Punk still have it? Has he
Yeah.
lost his edge? You
Which-
know, and we've seen that before, but if there's anybody that could pull it off again, it would be him. And Darby would get a huge victory, but I think you ride that CM Punk momentum.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm very happy. I'm part of that one crowd that got them ice cream bars for free.
There you go.
I was at CM Punk's return. We didn't talk about it last week because we didn't have a show.
That's true. Yeah.
You know, so I didn't get the shirt. I was there. That was sold out by the time I even made it halfway in line. But I got the free ice cream bar. Now everybody else gets it, but they have to pay for it. So I'll take the victories where I can get them.
I ordered the shirt, the not I was there one.
Have you gotten it yet?
No, because we got a email that said, "Hey, we're trying. We're working 7 days a week, and we've hired staff. Things are a little behind than they normally are." I was like,
Good problem to have.
Yeah, right.
And this is what Nathan's saying. So WWE, as you just mentioned, did the mental health services, putting it to any former or current talent, I believe. And then Carl commenting, they suck, bro, and it took off. So probably trying to do a heel move there.
Yeah.
May have been just out of just bad taste, which trust me, I know humor and bad taste. I get it. I get it.
I will concur. He knows.
Tony got his CM Punk shirt today.
Whatever, Tony. Although I have not checked my mail yet.
It's probably there, like collecting dust. It's probably like cobwebs. It's been there for all week.
All week.
Yeah. Dylan works in the apparel industry. T-shirts aren't being manufactured on the normal schedule.
That's honestly, that's what they said with if you saw the CM Punk shirt when it was first offered, it was the ringer tee with like the black and then on the arms. Now it's literally a white t-shirt.
Yeah.
Because they're like, it was like the most honest warning I've ever seen. Like, hey, we want to keep selling this design for you guys, but we cannot get ringer shirts delivered to our facility anytime soon. So
what kind of apparel you work with there, Dylan? Yeah, just wondering, you know, you could replace Ballz some week on the show if for exchange for, you know, some apparel or something.
Man,
putting it out there.
Whatever.
Putting it out there somewhere. This is a bold prediction here. Casimir saying predicting Cody to help Darby Allin.
That would seem like a weird place for Cody to pop back up. When Cody comes back, he's going back after Malachi Black. Like, I don't feel like. I assume. I can't imagine he would just jump storylines.
Malachi and CM Punk. That's a match I look forward to, by the way.
Yeah. Once we get there. Yup.
Just popped in my head. I'm like, oh, yeah. I'd like to see that. Yes, please.
That's the Guinness Book of World Records for most tattoos in one ring at the same time.
Dylan updating us. Restock dates pushed back to 2022. China bought 70% of the world's cotton.
Holy crap.
Damn you, China. Well, all right. I say at this point, we stop wearing shirts. If there's a shortage, we just stop wearing shirts. Men, women, people who identify as neither, it's fine.
Yeah. This also explains to me why my one of those t-shirt websites I ordered a couple shirts from, and they've taken like a month and some to get here. This is why, apparently. They just don't communicate as well as pro wrestling tees.
No, everybody's hurting right now. So, you know, you and I talk about the toys from time to time. Funko Pops no longer at a $10 price point because of materials. So now it's going to be like a $12 price point, which isn't much, but as a guy who's been collecting since day one, they've had a good run at the $10 price point.
Same thing with your wrestling figures and your other stuff. It's all going up to like 23, 25.
Yeah.
All because of, if you look at toy aisles are empty. And it's all because of China and shipping and what?
I'm not a big city, so it says who's on the next table talk? Damian Priest, since found out he had phone issues and had to miss all of his appearances on Wednesday this week, not just table talk. So we're gonna try him again next week, which pushes off the. Trust me, it's gonna be a stellar next few weeks though on Table Talk. And then my guest on next week's Low Blow is Ballz.
What?
Yeah.
I'm shocked.
With no shirt. So you're gonna whoa next week, buddy. Next week we gotta make people want that. You know, you can't give them
China bought 70% of my shirt for next week.
So it's basically just a collar and some cotton pasties. So
it's just straight across here.
Yeah, and he's gonna change his name to Ballz.